Hello, and welcome back to the 3 at Moon live stream, everybody. Happy Saturday. It's March 19th, 2022. I hope you're having an awesome weekend so far. Welcome, Idorama, and also welcome, Daryl. Welcome, Stegosaurus McCartney. Today we're going to be playing some more Pokemon. We're diving right back into Pokemon. I kind of got a little distracted with some of our new games on the Switch that I was diving into. Taiko no Tetsujin, which we won't be doing too much more streaming of, but I'm going to be playing a lot more of off stream, just because it does get copyright. I mean, it's a music game, right? So they're well-known songs, and it does get copyright muted and that sort of thing. So we're probably not going to play too much of that, but we will be continuing Katamari Damacy Reroll, which is a very, very fun remake. But this is our first playthrough of Pokemon Legends Arceus. This is part 18, if you've been following since the beginning, or if you're watching on YouTube in the Pokemon Legends Arceus playlist. Where we are in the story is in the Alabaster Icelands, and we need to basically go find Avalugg and quell Avalugg. We have a little mission to follow the Warden of Braviary, the Hisuian Braviary. It's the first time we've seen one. Its own new form, which is really cool. We have to basically just like chase them around, and then eventually we will learn fly, with air quotes, no pun intended, and that'll essentially be like how Sneasler is our rock climber, and we've essentially got someone that can dig. It's our final noble Pokemon, Avalugg, and then our final Pokemon, I think, in terms of our HM Pokemon, that's what I like to call them, is Braviary. So we're in a point where there is progression in the story, but I also do want to do some more exploration of this area, because it seems to be quite an open expanse of ice, and there's a lot of really cool Pokemon. We caught ourselves a Bergmite in the last stream. We caught ourselves a Rufflet. So some cool stuff. Daryl is saying, I've been watching a long play of Yooka-Laylee recently, and when I first heard the reviews, people were really critical of the game, but watching it now, it's a total Banjo-Kazooie collector. Yeah. People were really critical of it when it first came out, I think, because they were expecting, like Banjo-Kazooie 3, they were expecting a lot, and I feel like because of the popularity of the Kickstarter for Yooka-Laylee, it was a lot to live up to. I mean, Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie are fantastic games, and there's a lot of flaws with Yooka-Laylee. I think that if Yooka-Laylee came out in the N64 era, it would have been incredible, or the GameCube era, that would have been incredible. But I think it came out a little too late. I think it's a sequel or DLC or something, but from watching people, yeah, I feel like it came out just a little too late, and I think that's why it got some really bad reviews, as well as it, living up to. It kept hyping up the fact that it was the original members that worked on Banjo-Kazooie and stuff, so it was just a timing thing, really. You're digging the music and the character voices. It is a fun game, too, and it's quite charming. Just if you look at it outside of other games and you're just like, look at it as that experience, it's actually pretty cool. It is the same team, yeah, it's every single member. I think most of the same members. You're also saying the old PokeMan of the mountain is totally Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime with a beard. Hisuian Mr. Mime. You're holding out for the garbage bag Pokemon. Nice. Don't know if we're going to find it wandering the Icelands, but maybe if we find the kitchen lands, we might find a garbage bag Pokemon or two. Garbodor. So I also want to say thanks to the recent folks that have joined the Discord. Use command Discord and you can join Moon Space Zone, which is basically just an extension of our chat community when I'm not live. There you'll know when I'm going live. You'll also have a place to connect with other people in the community, meet a ton of really cool streamers. There's a ton of awesome streamers there that have helped me in my personal channel journey. And you can also recommend games. It's a great place to talk about game development, to talk about ROM hacks, talk about what games you just recently picked up, what are games you're really looking forward to coming out, and also talk about anime and graphic novels and manga. I'm a big fan of puzzle games. There's been some cool puzzle recommendations recently on Discord, so yeah, feel free to join. Thank you to the recent followers on Twitch, and if you're watching on YouTube, thank you for the recent subscriptions as well. We've had a few more people joining recently. Thanks to Maximum Gaming HQ for the follow on Twitch, and thanks to Nicole's Craft Cove for the recent raid. I appreciate it. So stick around, we've got Pokemon Legends Arceus in the Snow up next. We might have a little bit of lag here, but there usually is when we transition here. Just one sec. Okay. Now, I feel like it's a little bit too low. I don't want it to overtake. Okay, there we go. The Alabaster Icelands. This is where we were last time. We're not exactly dressed for the occasion, but look, a wild Electabuzz and a wild Machoke pretty much right away. We'll do a quick team recap, and when we do... Can we do a quick team recap? Yeah, we kind of just paused abruptly last time, so we do have... Let's do a team recap in a different way. And it's kind of a shame, actually, just because we don't have everyone fully healed at the moment. We did find our first Ice Stone, though, which is quite cool. Daryl, you're saying that you gave the Cuphead cartoon a chance. You're 2 episodes in. Nice. And what do you think? Do you think it's... Would you recommend? I mean, I think you know my taste in cartoons quite well. But the team that we have right now is all alphas. We have, of course, Beetleborg, if you've been watching and following the previous parts. Our 10-foot, 300-pound Heracross. We have Laxtos, our over 2-ton, 11-foot Snorlax. Really cool moves, actually. We have a bunch of really cool moves that we can pick from as well, if we wanted to swap those out. And yeah, pretty beefy with the stats. We've got all the EVs full, and almost all the EVs full for Laxtos. We also have Argon, the level 69, 9-foot, 200-pound ball of gas. That's a pretty dense ball of gas. Well, my professor always told me never to trust a man what's made of gas. Never to trust a Pokemon's what's made of gas. This was a giant Ghastly that we found and ended up evolving it, and it was named Argon by Lord Loki Asgard in the chat. We've got Deep Cut, our level 66 Scizor. This was a level 42 Scyther, an alpha Scyther that we found pretty early on, and I named it Deep Cut after Deep Thought because it was level 42 from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Daryl is saying, I would watch the Cuphead show for the animation and for the music, but the story doesn't really amaze me, although I'm only 2 episodes in right now. That's fair. We have Punchki. We didn't have the proper the proper accent there, but this is an alpha Octillery with a pretty cool moveset, I would say. And we have K. Rool, the latest addition to the team, a 9-foot Garchomp. We found this somewhat recently because we just found Gibbles and a bunch of Gibbles actually in ore deposits as well as in caves. And then we found an alpha Gabite who we named K. Rool, and then we evolved her just recently at the end of the last stream. Our next... Oh, nice. Do we have another Ghastly we can call Gleep Glop? I do, actually. I have a Ghastly, specifically... So Argon was a giant Ghastly, and most of these alphas we found just out and about in the world, except for Beetleborg, we found in a space-time rift, or a space-time distortion. Space-time distortions are really cool in this game because it's essentially like in Reboot when an incoming game shows up. it basically will appear in a random part of the map, and then we can find rare items and rare Pokemon. So yeah, we were lucky to find that one there, but every other Pokemon here we found just in the overworld, the standard overworld. Do we have another Ghastly we can call Gleep-Glop? Yes. So thank you for redeeming the name a character, Daryl. For 420 Moonstones, you can name any Pokemon or any character in a game that I'm playing. We've got a bunch of RPGs lined up to play coming up soon, so you can do that in those games as well. Yes, so we caught a giant Ghastly, which we evolved into Argon. We have Puff Puff Pass, which is also a Gengar, but it's just a standard size Gengar. And randomly in one of the areas we came across, like in our 4th or 5th stream, we came across a tiny Ghastly, like a really small one. And that one doesn't, I think it called it Shit Disturber as a placeholder, but we'll name that one Gleep-Glop. So we'll eventually have a tiny Gengar, a standard Gengar, and a giant Gengar. I think that's pretty funny. In terms of the team, yeah, we can't really, it's my least favorite way to show off the team. I love showing them off, especially because they're alphas, by setting them out like this. Because I mean, look at these things, it's terrifying. Either one of these things, if you ran into them at that size, like I totally understand why all the NPCs in this game find Pokemon terrifying. So those are the only ones that are not fainted. There's a few things we can do. I was just about to say, I know something saw us. Ooh, we don't have an Elekid. We have an Electivire, which we caught in a space-time distortion. We have an Electabuzz. Let's try and catch this. So at the end of the last part of this playthrough, we did catch a bunch of new Pokemon to the team, just because it was our first time in this area. That would be deafening to hear if that Heracross screamed like that at your ear level. That close. There we go. There's our first Elekid. Heck yeah. So we're going to be naming a bunch of Pokemon later when we go to the pasture. We'll do some organization down the line. The fuck is that? Do y'all see that? I already have one of them, but still. There you go. Nice little level 50. Get buzzed. Okay. So we have to catch some, defeat some, defeat with ground moves, stun it with items. You can hear those Poke motorcycles in the background. Maybe you can. Oh, thank you. I'll take it. Okay, we need to go here, but at the same time, we can get there easily. So what I want to do is just heal, so we have everyone on the team. I'm just going to quickly name that gas leak Leapclop for Stegosaurus McCartney here as well. Yes, we have some full boxes. These are all Pokemon that we want to keep. We have 3 unknowns. Funny enough, the unknowns that we have in this order, hilariously and unintentionally, ended up happening to be DLC, and we got them in that order. So maybe that's some sort of some sign that there's going to be DLC for this, and hopefully it'll add specifically battling online and Wonder Trade and shit like that. That'd be cool. Yeah, I think actually, oh, how far does it go? We already have a Chimeco. Am I missing a Chimeco? Yeah, we have a Chimeco here. So Weege, Chris Pratt is the alpha purple pass that we caught. So this one was actually a Nosepass that we evolved. So I'll probably get rid of those, but Misdreavus, you know what, while we're here we might as well just do it. Let's do our let's do a little bit of box cleanup here. So this one for sure, we don't have a Misdreavus, it's the first one we've caught. And we have an Alpha Cherim. So where's our other Cherim? We have it somewhere. Pretty sure. Here we go. There's a Cherim, it's Blossom. Cool. Okay, so we don't need to keep those ones, because we already have an Ursaring. We also have our original Teddy Ursa that we evolved all the way to an Ursaluna very, very recently too. Our wire deer is much smaller than the wire deer that we can use for fast travel on the overworld, but our Ursaluna is huge in comparison, and it's not an alpha or anything. It's just happened to be a big Pokemon. It's huge in comparison to the Ursaluna that we play the Celestica flute to summon. Yeah, see, we caught a bunch of these. We already have a Steelix, and we already have an Alpha Steelix, I believe. Yep. We have Crusher, named after Wesley Crusher, because we found this Steelix as we were escaping a space-time distortion. And if you know Star Trek The Next Generation at all, they hint a lot that Wesley Crusher is sort of an expert when it comes to time, or will be somebody who will eventually understand time in a way that will help humans to advance their understanding of time as a whole, which is pretty cool. So we named Crusher, just named after that because of the circumstances in which we met this Pokemon. You know, when I remember when they first introduced Metal Coat, that I thought it was a really, really cool idea. It doesn't feel nearly as gimmicky. When they first started introducing like the evolution items, I thought that was such a nice little touch, but it doesn't feel as gimmicky as something like Gigantamax or Mega Pokemon. I like the designs of some of the Mega Pokemon, but I'm not a fan of the idea of Mega evolving, personally. But we did find an Alpha Steelix in the last stream and named it Abby Jams, because Abby was watching. Abby's one of our mods and also an awesome streamer. They were doing like viewer requests and playing all sorts of cool games last night, I think. Let's do a shout out. Go follow Abby if you aren't following them already. And we started around the same time, actually, with our channels. There's a handful of people that have just been super supportive since the very beginning, and I appreciate those that have stuck around since then. Like Lord Loki, thank you so much for being super supportive at the channel. You came in with the very first raid that anyone ever raided the channel with, and that was with Moosebones, my good buddy Nash. He was the first person to ever raid me, and also you came in with that raid, I think, so that's pretty cool. Thanks for staying all that time. Alright, so I noticed something. And I only noticed this when I first caught this quillfish a while back. It's like, oh cool, maybe they just changed the color of quillfish. I'm like, did we catch a shiny quillfish? Because the only shinies that I have in the box right now are this Voodoo. So you've got the standard Voodoo. Oh, well, it won't let me view that? Come on. There we go. There's our shiny. With the purple bib. And then Staravia, which evolved into a Staraptor, Yellow Sun, in comparison to these. And yes, it looks like I'm a Staraptor collector, but I have an alpha. I have the very first Starly that we ever caught, fully evolved to a Staraptor. I have the very first shiny we encountered of any Pokemon, which was a Staravia, and I evolved it. And I have the very first Pokemon we caught straight out of the air with a Wing Ball. So there's significance to all of them. Interesting. And we already have a Rhydon. We need none of this, but the Hisuian Sneasel is really cool. Oh, that's what I was talking about. It was Quillfish. I noticed that it was purple and darker in terms of the color here. This is not what Quillfish looks like. And I thought to myself, maybe they just changed the design. And then I thought, well, they never do that. Why would they ever change officially the design of a Pokemon? And then I realized, oh, this is a Hisuian Quillfish. I did not realize until now. It does actually have an evolution, whereas the original Quillfish in Generation 2 is... Wow, let's see. The original Quillfish in Generation 2, I think, is just Poison type or Water Poison. I just want to see here. It's actually considered a balloon Pokemon like Drifloon, Drifblim, Igglypuff, Jigglypuff, and Wigglytuff. Yeah, it's poison is type 1, and then water is its secondary type. And in Hisui, Quillfish is dark and poison. So it will evolve. It looks like it's going to evolve when it uses a strong style Barb Barrage, which is its own move, 20 times. And it learns that move at level 15. So there it is. It already has it. So we just have to do a strong type move, and it will evolve into a really interesting Pokemon. I love the name. It's called Overquill. And you'll see what it looks like when we evolve it. In fact, just for the sake of evolving all the Pokemon, we'll leave Punchki for now. Actually, you know what? We'll leave Argon because Punchki has a better moveset. Thank you. Anyways, so that's a Hisuian Pokemon. Obviously, you know, Hisuian Pokemon, if you're new to this game, it's basically like a lowland Pokemon, Galarian Pokemon. They're just regional forms, and oftentimes they have different moves, different abilities, different designs, and different typings. And it makes sense that if a Pokemon was in a different environment long enough that it would change and adapt its typing or its look. So in terms of Hisuian Pokemon that we've seen, this is not a Hisuian Pokemon, but this is essentially Psyshield Bash is a move I don't think is in any other Pokemon game. I think it's a new move. And this is the new evolution to Stantler, which is called Wire Deer, and it adds the Psychic typing. But it only evolves once it's used that Psy-Shield Bash 10 times, like a strong style version of it. So it does kind of make sense that some of these Pokemon evolutions weren't discovered later on or become kind of lost, because maybe some of these moves become forgotten over time. This does take place in an ancient time within the Pokemon universe, so that makes sense. These are our 3. Puff Puff Pass, we have Argon. Spectre is the first wild Haunter that we caught. I mean, we don't need to keep it around. But this is our Tiny Ghastly. So this, for Stegosaurus McCartney's name redeem, is being renamed Gleepclop. Keep 'em coming, Gleepclop. Keep 'em coming. Perfect. Perfect. There's Gleepclop. Okay. Besides Pokemon that have to evolve through friendship, I don't think there's many other ones that we can take with us that evolve still. We did catch an Alpha Rhyperior, which is pretty badass. Drill Dozer. Another Game Freak game, which I highly recommend checking out on the Game Boy Advance. Yeah, who could we evolve here? So, we've already evolved. So we caught basically 2 Magmars and a Magby when we were in the volcano area. And we've got Romulan the Magby, that evolves through friendship, so we're gonna just skip that. Same with Golbat. For some reason in my mind, I was thinking you had to trade Golbat and then it would evolve it into Crobat, like holding an item or something. But no, Golbat actually evolves with happiness. It needs max happiness to evolve into Crobat. We do have a Crobat that named Bruce Wayne, an Alpha Crobat, that we met inside of a cave as part of the story in the last stream, or 2 streams ago. And in the volcano area, basically, yeah, I caught a Magmar and then caught a second one. The second one was an Alpha, and we used the Magmarizer to evolve it into Magmortar. So this is an Alpha Magmortar. It was on the team for a while, actually. Really great Pokemon. I don't like the design, but the stats are fantastic. I'd much prefer the design of Magmar. But yes, we can evolve another one if we wanted to, because we have the item. Magmarizer is the very first item that I found in any space-time distortion, so I think it's kind of appropriate that also as a TNG reference that we named Magmortar Jordy, and that was also Daryl's name as well. So thanks for tossing the names in the ring, folks. These are meant for research tasks, so we don't need them right now. Okay, let's do just a quick search here. How does Gible evolve? At level 24, and then level 48 for Garchomp. So we could bring this one along too if we wanted to, just to evolve it. Let's just do that for now. So 4-Up Planet, our Magnezone named by Adorama, is gonna be the marker of like Pokemon. Anything after 4-Up Planet are Pokemon we need to evolve. And then we'll just keep moving on. I'm curious about Misdreavus though, because I've actually never used a Mismagius, the evolution. Now a lot of these new evolutions to Gen 2 and Gen 3 Pokemon, or sorry, Gen 2 and Gen 1 Pokemon were introduced in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, and of course this is supposed to be the ancient version of Sinnoh. But I never really got a chance to use a lot of these evolutions in-game. Even though I played the hell out of Pokemon Pearl, I just never attempted to evolve them. Mismagius will evolve with the Dusk Stone. Okay, so the same stone we need to evolve our Murkrow. Gotcha. Yo, Lord Loki, welcome to the stream. Thank you for the hydrate. Hello, hello. Happy Saturday. We are just hanging out in Hisui. checking out the pastures, and really just going through the box at the moment. So we determined we don't need a second Alpha Steelix. But this is the most recent new Pokemon, and this, I was talking about Hisuian Pokemon earlier because I wanted to just really briefly touch upon some of the Hisuian Pokemon we've run into already. Like, very nice. We can only evolve Ursaluna, or sorry, Ursaring into Ursaluna during a full moon using the Peat Stone, so that's a one related to just this region alone. And then we've got, of course, our Hisuian Voltorb, which is electric and grass. Really unique type combination. I don't think there's an electric grass Pokemon officially besides that one. So for the most part, like if we run into a Hisuian Voltorb, we're never going to run into a Voltorb or like a Cantonian Voltorb or whatever you want to call it. But we're probably not going to run into that in game. And trying to see another example here. Hisuian Decidueye. So our Dartrix evolved into this, which looks nothing like Decidueye. This was our starter. Decidueye is Grass Ghost. Hisuian Decidueye is Grass Fighting. So basically, yeah, just the designs are different. We're never going to run into a standard Decidueye or a Alolan Decidueye. And is there another example? Like we've got Cleavor, which just needed a specific item to evolve Scyther. But that's basically it. So essentially, the first Hisuian Pokemon that we've seen and also have a normal or original version of, like a Jotonian Sneasel. There we have a Hisuian Sneasel now, which is awesome. It's a completely different type. Instead of Dark and Ice, it is Fighting and Poison. Really interesting. It evolves into Sneasler, which is one of the Pokemon we use to climb and get around and fast travel. We're probably going to keep that one. Okay, cool. Yeah, because it's a stronger one. We've got our first Magikarps ever. Gonna keep this one. And yes, we already have a Gyarados, so pop it over here. Now there's a lot of menu stuff that you have to do in these games, so you just end up inevitably doing it. Oh yes, that's right, Alpha Budew. Let's mark it. I'm gonna name this Pokemon. Budzilla. Now, I think I might have asked this one before, but if there was a Pokemon from the original generations or any generation that you wanted to create an evolution for, what would it be? Just like how in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl they created Electivire from Electabuzz and Magmortar from Magmar, Tangrowth from Tangela, Ambipom from Apom, Probopass from Nosepass. These are all new evolutions to existing Pokemon. What would you choose? Feel free to drop that in the YouTube comments if you're watching on YouTube, or in the chat. Or if you're a member of the Discord, drop it into Galaxy Hall, our Pokemon channel over there. Oh, nice. Speaking of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, so Lord Loki was playing Nier Automata recently, or streaming that recently. The creators of that game, or the developers of that game, are the developers of Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. And it's actually the very first non-Game Freak developed main series Pokemon game. And really interesting that it's that team. They've got a whole variety of different styles of games that they've worked on, and it's actually quite cool. Loki saying, I would have loved to have seen Dunsparce get an evolution. Okay, so in Pokemon Sun and Moon, they introduced Drampa, right? It was a normal dragon type. It sort of was weird looking, had similar coloring to Dunsparce, and I always saw Dunsparce as a dragon. In fact, they even reference, I think, in a Pokedex entry that it has something to do with dragons. There's something related to that and Dunsparce. And so immediately I'm like, sweet, they're finally giving Dunsparce an evolution. It looks interesting. It evolves and completely changes its look. But it would be perfect. And lo and behold, it's another Alomomola situation where Alomomola could easily have been an evolution for Love Disc, but they're like, nope, they're unrelated. So instead, Dunsparce stays normal type, and it just stays as it is. And Drampa is normal dragon and stays as it is, and it's not that interesting. Could have been cool. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Drampa is the old Pokemon of the mountain, that's for sure. Yeah, it was an interesting studio choice. I agree. I highly agree. Pretty cool. Yeah, I remember. I remember that being so stoked when I saw the design for Drampa, just because I assumed it was a Dunsparce evolution. But yeah, let's see what we got here. Where did we put that dang old Magikarp? Oh, here. So yeah, we have the Kite of Rage, which is the very first Gyarados that we caught, and we caught it flying. It looked like a kite. That's the reason why we called it that. But I just never pictured Gyarados flying in the air for some reason. Even in the anime, I'm not sure if that happens. I'm sure it does, but I just can't think of that. Even though it's water flying, it shouldn't be that out of the norm, you know. So we need a name for Magikarp, and we need a name for Hisui and Sneasel, if anyone wants to give them names. So this is our Alpha Cherum. I love Cherry Blasters, so we're just going to call it Blasters. Then I started Blasters. Cool. Okay, Magikarp. Yes. Can we fit it? I think we can. Goldeen Hawn. I know, it's stupid. It's not a Goldeen. Alright, we need a name for Sneasel, for Hisui and Sneasel. It's fighting and poison. I like that. I kind of want to go with Sting. Like a quick jab that stings, and also the sting of the poison and the toxins. Okay. We need a name for Misdreavus. And let's keep going and see what other Pokemon. There. We're just gonna have Gengar off the team very, very, very temporarily, so. Did we mark Budzilla? We did. Did we mark Cherub? Nope. I try to do this just for organization's sake because you can easily then search alphas. So I mark with the star, the blue star, all of my alphas. And I try to mark with the diamond my shinies. Mark with the diamond my shinies. Okay, Scyther, Gyarados. None of these are necessary. Ooh, yes, Alpha Mothim. So we got a giant moth. I like it. I'm actually going to replace the Mothim that we have. Wait, what? I'm confused now. Is there 2 Alpha Mothims? Oh yeah, we already did this. That's funny. Yeah, okay, so we just released one of them. We just need a name for an Alpha Mothim. Hey Cyphers, welcome to the stream. Yeah, exactly. I'm off Wednesday, Thursday. It was good. It's usually a busy day for me at work, so we're just hanging out here with some Pokemon Legends. Just having a chill one. Hope you're doing well. If you're not following Cyphers, go give them a follow. Were you recently playing Legend of Zelda NES, like Zelda 1? And you know what? Let's name this Alpha Mothim after Cyphers. How about that? Add it back to the crew here. And it's marked. Hard-boiled and over easy. The Togepi's. I like that. Yes. Okay, so Goodra. This is another Hisuian Pokemon we just discovered. Goodra looks completely different. Hisuian Goodra has like a shell, like a snail shell almost. It looks more like a snail. And it is Steel Dragon type instead of, I think it's normally, what is it? Goodra original type. Well, that's a cool name. It's named Numelgon in Japan. Goodra. So you've got Gumi, standard type Gumi, which is just dragon, it's just pure dragon. And then Sliggoo. And these are introduced in Sun and Moon. No, Pokemon X and Y. They're introduced in the Kalos region. Sliggoo is just pure dragon type, but you can see that it's already growing out of its shell in the Hisuian Sliggoo form. So we're going to need to find a Gumi, which I think we might have caught one. We'd have to evolve it into Hisuian Sliggoo, and then that evolves into this. And we found ourselves a level 70 Alpha. It's got some pretty crazy moves. I don't even know what Shelter does. The user makes its skin as hard as an iron shield, raising its defensive stats. Incoming moves will also become more likely to miss. Wow. Interesting. So it's got a much different design, and this is not a situation where we will see the standard Goodra and the Hisuian Goodra like Sneasel. So much Zelda 1 lately. Cyphers, nice. Don't release it into the wild. I won't let them off. Leave the team. So we need a name for Goodra. I kind of like its Japanese name. Numelgon. Like, Charizard's Japanese name is Lizardon. Which is like, yep. That's right. I'm gonna change the markings so we can easily find it. And I also think Steel Dragon is a really cool typing. I think the only other Steel Dragon typing is it Dialga or Palkia? Nope. There's a few. All right, let's see. So Dialga and no, Palkia is not. Dialga is Steel and Dragon. One of the legendaries from Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Then you've got Hisuian Sliggoo and Hisuian Goodra. And Duraludon. I don't know how to say it. Duraludon. Duraludon is a Steel Dragon type Pokemon introduced in Generation 8 Pokemon Sword and Shield. It's known as the Alloy Pokemon. The metal composing its body is extremely durable, but also surprisingly light. It only weighs about 88 pounds in total. Thanks to this, Duraludon can move quite quickly in spite of its appearance. Its body is weak to corrosion, however, and is known to rust easily. Interesting. Cool. It's an interesting design. It looks like a castle almost, and a suit of armor. So yeah, there's not actually a lot of Pokemon with that typing, so that's interesting. And it's the same with Electric Grass with Hisuian Voltorb. That's a really interesting thing as well. Imagine if they renamed Pikachu. What would they rename Pikachu? What's your new name for Pikachu? They just decided, like, yeah, we're going to just change the character name. Character's exactly the same. They still say Pikachu when they speak, but their name is now different. That's funny. Okay, I'm pretty sure we can release every single one of these. I'll execute every last motherfucking one he has. Pulp Fiction. Boom. Release. Yes, we're good. What other options do we have here? Other Pokemon, we've got Snorunt. So this is our strongest one. We're going to need a name for Snorunt. Oh, and we didn't do a name for Misdreavus yet. The Mechagodzilla Pokemon, yeah, Duraludon. That's what it looks like. I'm naming this one Plumber because her hair kind of looks like Amanda Plummer from Pulp Fiction. Alright, we've got Bergmite. We've got a few to choose from stat-wise. I'm going to go with this one. So Bergmite is going to evolve into Avalugg, and I think it's a Hisuian Avalugg as well, so it's going to have some slightly different stuff going on. Pretty sure. We've got a Swinub. Got a few of them. One of them is an Alpha. Yes. Alright, so we have a standard one and an Alpha. Just looking at what the strongest one is of our recent catches. These are all Pokemon new to this area. Okay, we'll go with this one. And then the alpha. I'm gonna change the name. Oh, this is such a terrible name, but I'm going with it. We can't stop here. This is swine country. It's an awful name. Pikachu is the Japanese name, so just imagine if they decided to localize it. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, totally. Because I was mentioning Numelgon for Gudra and Lizardon for Bulbasaur. That's funny. Okay, so that's joining the team here, and then we've got just one Piloswine. 2 Piloswines to pick from. That one, ooh, that's an alpha. Well then, we don't really need Swine Country then. Do we name the other one Swine Country? No, we keep them both. We keep them both. This thing's hair looks like Kurt Cobain, so this one's named Cobain. In fact, we're naming it Cold Bane. I know. I know. I know. And we're gonna keep the alpha as well, because if we found ourselves, I didn't realize we found an alpha of both. That's really cool. Just want to make sure we got the right markings. I think this name actually would really work for an alpha Mamoswine, and I think if we did evolve any of these into a Mamoswine, I think we're going to probably keep Swine Country as just a giant Swinub because it looks funny on the overworld. But if we did evolve one into a Mamoswine, I think it's going to be this one here, Asgard. It's a great name for it, and we'll nod to Loki as well. Now, question. What other ice ground Pokemon exist? That's what I'm curious about. Is it just Piloswine? Oh, what? 1 second, folks. What the? I'm sorry. Just a sec. Swinub, Piloswine. That's it. Really? Just the 3? Yeah, wow. That's it. Interesting. So that would be an interesting new typing. Not new typing, but doing like a new design for ground ice Pokemon. We also have ourselves a Glalie and an Alpha, so we're just going to keep the Alpha, I think, in this case. Snorunt evolves into Glalie or Frostlass, and it looks like we have a female one here. I'm trying to remember how they evolve. There's some way that they evolve, where it default evolves into Glalie, kind of like how Wormadam and Burmy work with Mothim. It's similar. Yeah, there's a couple ice rock Pokemon, Loki is saying, but no more ice ground. I thought Glalie was ice steel. I guess I was wrong. Just pure ice. So we're gonna name this one, we'll name Snorunt. I always name it this, but I mean, we can't not. But remember, you can, for 420 Moonstones, you can toss a name in the ring too if you like. Like Daryl did earlier with Gleepgla. Candy Corn. And then for Glalie, always look like a walnut to me. Or like Jason Voorhees' helmet. Why don't we name it Voorhees? It's massive too, like this is a huge alpha. We're not going to keep a standard one, we don't need the Bergmites. We've got Snover. Snover's a great Pokemon. I was recently on Discord. Somebody had posted like their top favorite Pokemon of each type, having gone through like all the grass type Pokemon and picking their favorite design or their favorite Pokemon to use competitively or whatever criteria you personally have. So I challenged some people in the Discord to create that list, and then I decided to sit down and do it myself. And I ended up not being able to narrow it down. Like design-wise was the only thing I was going by. Just design, not moves. And I couldn't even narrow it down. There was 6 grass Pokemon. I was like, oh, damn. It's actually pretty funny. The Pokemon were Go-Goat from Pokemon X and Y. Just some of the ones that I chose. Let me just pull it up. Yeah, it was Sunflora. And this is just based on design. Sunflora from Gen 2. The most recent Pokemon, Zarude, which I think is the most recent one besides the new announced Generation 9 starters. But Zarude has a really, really cool design, even though I've never played Pokemon Sword and Shield. Abomasnow, I hate the design for Mega Abomasnow, but I love Abomasnow's design, and I really like Snover's design as well. Plus it's quite unique for being grass ice. Leafeon, mainly because we've been using the Alpha Leafeon on our team for quite a while in this game. I always liked Leafeon's design, but I think I've come to like it a lot more through playing it. Go-Goat is the one I mentioned. It's one of the fast travel Pokemon in Pokemon X and Y. And based purely on design, Rillaboom. I really like Rillaboom. I don't really like anything to do with Gigantamax Rillaboom, but Rillaboom being essentially the Venusaur of Pokemon Sword and Shield has a cool design. And as a drummer, I can resonate with that. But I still couldn't decide which one of those is the best design, and I ended up going with Abomasnow as my favorite design for grass type. And that took me so long to figure out, and I saw some people were posting like each type their favorite one immediately. It's just such a hard question to answer. Loki saying, do I know the sad Go-Goat story that they put in X and Y? No, I don't think so. Do I want to know the sad Go-Goat story? Definitely naming this one Pine Nut. pine nut. That's cute. We have ourselves a Rufflet. Now this is gonna evolve into a Hisuian Braviary, not a standard Braviary. But we got this thing out of the air at level 50. So that's what we're at in the game, is we're encountering level like 49s, 50s, 55s. It's a heart-wrenching story, Loki is saying, but no death though. But it's a heart-wrenching story. Nice. Oh, Tony Uncle Al, thank you for hanging out. I see you're doing the old lurk. Hope you're doing well. There's a shout out if you're not following Tony Uncle Al. So here is Rufflet. Really cute Pokemon. I always liked the design of this Pokemon in Braviary. Oh, some pretty good moves already. 3 mastered ones. So we need a name for Rufflet. Oh, and our standard Swinub. Yes. Trufflet. It's the name of our Swinub. Our non-alpha one. There we go. So Bergmite and Rufflet need a name. There is our Electivire. Very cool. Another great one to name if you want to name a Pokemon. Rapidash. Nope. Those are all doubles. Just double checking that we don't want these. Yep. You let those Pokemon go? Farewell. The band Sparks is one of my favorite bands. They're really cool. So we're gonna name this Sparkplug Pokemon Sparks. I know that's such a oh wow, that's such a generic name, but it's the first thing that comes to mind. And then we've got ourselves a choice of Electabuzz. I go with this one, level 49. Now Electabuzz and Magmar for some reason always make me think of Pokemon Snap. Every time I see them in a 3D game, I just associate them immediately with those levels in Pokemon Snap, which, the original Pokemon Snap, of course. I haven't played the new one. I'd love to play the new one, actually. I remember it was like a big craze when it came out, a big hype thing, and it kind of dissipated after a bit, but I've never played it, and I think now that I got the Switch capture card, it could be really fun. I have seen some pretty hilarious photos people have set up in those games, or in new Pokemon Snap, but in the original, just for some reason, it's almost like Electabuzz is like the mascot for that, for me. Can you imagine if Ash in the anime picked an Elekid, and then it evolved into Electabuzz and eventually Electivire? That'd be a really interesting choice, instead of Pikachu. Like, give the... Of course he has the starter Pokemon, but give the main character a starter that has 3 forms. Kind of like in Dragon Ball Z. If you start with Goku, you can eventually evolve him to Super Saiyan 3. You don't need Bibarel. We got a Bomastone. This is what I'll do. a look at this. Such a cool design. I think it's a cool design. Great moveset. You know we're calling this one Brimley, but because he's cold. Brr. Emily. Because of the stash and because he's cold. Okay, so if it's Bergmite, obviously from iceberg and stalagmite, then why don't we call it the other half of those words, stalag ice. Inverted, why not? So we need a name for Electabuzz, Electivire, and Rufflet. And I believe we have already our Dusclop, or Dusknoir, Dusclops, yeah. We've got Skulltula and Goltergeist. So we don't need to keep that other one that we just got at the beginning of this stream. Yeah, we don't need to keep that. Cool moveset though. Leech Life, Dark Pulse, Shadow Ball, Psychic. It's pretty cool all around. We are going to release all of these though. And then clean slate. We're going to leave with in the party just temporarily. We're going to take Fugu with us to use a strong type Barb Barrage. A strong type version of Barb Barrage. If we use it 15 times or something, it'll evolve into it'll evolve from Hisuian Quillfish, which is dark poison type, into Overquill, and I just saw the design for it recently, and it's pretty hilarious. I love that they gave it an evolution, sort of like in Pokemon Sword and Shield, how they added Obstagoon to Galarian Zigzagoon instead of evolving into a Linoon. They added an alternate evolution. And Alan here, Alan from Jurassic Park, it is going to evolve in 3 levels into a Gabite, so that'll at least count for something in the research tasks. And then we'll come back and get our alpha Pokemon. What's really funny? Oh, we gotta name those Pokemon. What's really funny is as soon as I send this Pokemon out next to our alphas, you'll absolutely see the difference. Contextually, it's pretty great. Sam. That's it. Watson. And I'm going to call this one the arc. Like the electricity arc that can happen. Ooh. Between 2 points. Just, it's a cool name for me. That works. Alright. So yeah, check it out. You know, the Pokemon at the sizes that we're used to by now. There's Fugu. And Alan. There it is. pretty funny. Alright, I'm going to be right back, and then we're going to continue on into the Alabaster Ice Lakes. Stick around. I agree. Loki says, Gibble always makes me laugh. It's like 70% mouth. Think about how many Pokemon or just things accidentally get into that mouth. Thanks for your patience, folks. I'm just dealing with a few things here, just relating to a new apartment, so thank you, thank you. All right, folks, that's awesome. So, just good news regarding an apartment. So, I'm glad I just took the little breaks there. All right, let's continue. So, Loki, you mentioned you'd like to see an evolution for Dunsparce. I mentioned how I really wanted Drampa to be the evolution for Dunsparce. How would you design an evolution for Dunsparce? Would you give it a different typing? What would you do? Add wings? interesting. So Barbarage is basically like a poison type Hex. If the opponent Pokemon has a status ailment, it does double damage, just like Hex with the Ghost type move. You know, my favorite part about the ice area, the Alabaster Icelands, is that there's more music more often, which is quite nice. Loki is saying, I always pictured Dunsparce as a bizarre cocoon, so I had no idea what the evolution would be like. If it has wings, it has wings that can fly, a drill tail it burrows with, and the yokai it's based on is pretty hilarious. It's a wide snake demon that mimics people's voices to lure them into the woods and loves alcohol. So it would have been perfect. Drampa would have been perfect. That's true. There's a lot of ways it could go. That's funny. Okay. Where do we go? Oh, that sucks. Well, to be fair, the wild Pokemon are level 45 and level 50 here, so that makes sense. Yeah. Yep. We might actually, it might not make sense to try to evolve these Pokemon here in this area. It might make sense to box them. Isn't the camp just here? Here we go. 250 orange berries. Okay, that's good. And I think this is what we're gonna do. There's not a lot of Pokemon that actually can evolve using the Ice Stone. Squidward, no! Okay, let's see. We're gonna save these Pokemon to level up at a different time. We're gonna grab our Mons. I was gonna bring Gengar with me, but I kind of want to, just for a little bit, use New Melgon, our Alpha Gudra. Gives us Dragon Ground, Steel Dragon, Bug Steel, Water Normal, and Bug Fighting. I just feel like that's the right call. Just want to find this. Okay. Okay, that works. Just in terms of organization, I guess that works. We can do this again. That's fine. Okay, cool. Oh, I forgot one more thing. Crystal Queen. Just fits. Perfect. Ooh, Rock Tree coming in with that raid. Thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Raiders. Happy Saturday. My name is Matt, otherwise known as 3UpMoon, here on Twitch, and I upload all my streams to YouTube. This is part 18 of my first playthrough of Pokemon Legends Arceus. This game requires a ton of menu time and menu management, so that's a thing that happens. But I hope you're all having good weekends. Yeah, I stream usually every day from 6:30 p.m. Pacific onward. We started a little bit earlier today, and we've just been exploring the Alabaster Icelands in Pokemon Legends Arceus. I highly recommend checking this game out if you haven't played it yourself. And yeah, right now we just named an Eevee Crystal Queen here. All of our Pokemon have nicknames, and if you're new to the channel, you can spend 420 Moonstones to name a Pokemon or name any character in any game we're playing. But yeah, this is, like I said, part 18. We have to go find the noble Pokemon Avalugg, and we've been talking about the different forms of Pokemon, the Hisuian forms and stuff today. So it is, I think, a Hisuian form, which means it might have a different typing, might have some different moves. Yeah. So how was your stream, Rocktree? What were you streaming today? Got a nice wall of emotes. Welcome, Eternal Symmetry. We're gonna do a bunch of shout outs. If you're not following Rocktree, go give them a follow. And Eternal Symmetry as well. 2 trees, the Eternal Sima tree and the Rock tree. Rock tree is doing some Stardew Valley. Nice. I'm really excited to play that now that we've got the Switch set up. I will be moving in the next little bit, a couple of weeks or so, that'll probably change the schedule, but I think once I get settled, then Stardew Valley will be one of the new games we dive into. I recently picked up the first 3 Dragon Quest games as well. And I do play a lot of Pokemon stuff, so you can check out some of my other co-ops with my buddy Rathe. We play Pokemon Sweet, a food and candy themed ROM hack of Pokemon Fire Red. We've done Pokemon Emerald, and we plan on playing Pokemon Platinum and doing a co-op of that coming up soon. I love Stardew Valley. I'm a big fan. Big fan of the game, big fan of the music. For sure. It's a very like de-stressing, relaxing type of game. Nice. And Eternal Symmetry, that's right, you were playing Super Mario Kart and Super Mario All-Stars recently doing a co-op. Sounds familiar. Welcome Blue Eyes White Boomer as well. Yeah, I hope everyone's having a good Saturday. So we just named this thing Crystal Queen. We did a bunch of menu stuff, so you came in at the right time. Because the menu stuff can be a little bit tedious, a little bit boring. Let's go ahead and use this. A peculiar stone that can make a certain species of Pokemon evolve. This is the first time we've seen an ice stone, which I think we just picked up in the last stream. And we've been using an Alpha Leafeon on the team for a while, really digging it. This is the first time we're seeing one of these. Alright, we got Crystal Queen, the Glaceon. Now the cool thing about Glaceon and the Ice Stone is like it makes sense. Why not have an Ice Stone? There's an Ice type. It's just there should have been one from the beginning. They only introduced it in, I think, Sun and Moon and Sword and Shield as an item. Normally you evolve Glaceon in a completely different way. But very cool stuff. Surfins, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for the hydrate. Surfins recently rocking the Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening remake. I had someone at my work, because I work for a game dev company, recently asked the team if we played it, and I haven't played it. I haven't played the like micro miniature looking aesthetic Link's Awakening. I'd like to. I'd really like to. I grew up with the original, not even the Game Boy Color one, the DX one, but the OG. Spent a lot of time with that on my Game Boy. And actually, if you're one of our followers, you have got an original Gray Brick Game Boy emote. Eternal Symmetry says, which evolution is my favorite? I think I've always liked Flareon. Like as a kid playing Pokemon Red and Blue. That one stood out. I'm not a huge fan of Glaceon. It's a cool design. I like the design of Sylveon. I think that's pretty cool. But Umbreon is up there, and Leafeon is more increasingly becoming a favorite, mainly because we've been using a Leafeon in the team here. And you know, Nuzlocke challenges or playing randomizers of Pokemon, they kind of do the same thing. You end up playing with a Grimer, and you're like, well, I don't want a Grimer. But then you're like, I love Grimer. Like one gym in, you're like, this is my favorite Pokemon. What's up, Adorama? How's it going? Thanks so much for that raid, Rocktree. I appreciate it. So you tend to learn a new move when you evolve. We already knew Powder Snow. Interesting. So this was the right one to pick. Let's send it out and take a look at this thing. Oh, so small. Wow. Just in comparison, that's so funny. And so since we just got rated, we'll do a quick recap. But as you can see, we've got a lot of Pokemon. We've got, in terms of EVs, for evolutions. We have Naruto, the Fox, Danky Kang, and El Torcho. Well, Danky Kang is the very first Eevee that we caught, that we decided to evolve with the first Firestone we found. So this is like kind of the OG. And then El Torcho was the very first wild Flareon that we found. And then these two were just for research tasks, so we could probably release these or trade these. And if you want to connect with me on this game and you play this game, feel free to just DM me or Switch friend code, and then we can do a trade. We have Fantastic, the Jolteon. We've got McCloud, the Vaporeon, and Water Doggy was a Vaporeon that we caught in the wild. So we've got those two. We caught the Sylveon, which was the very first and only Sylveon I've seen in a space-time distortion, and it was the first one we found. And Umbreon we found in a space-time distortion as well. And actually, in the same battle with the Sylveon, we ran into Marijuana. No, not that one. We ran into... Hold on a second. Excuse me. Where is our Leafeon? Excuse me. Oh, whew. I was like, did we accidentally delete our Leafeon? Oh, we ran into Leaf Thought. my. Almost lost it. Leaf Thought. This is part of the reason why I think Leafeon is just becoming more of a favorite design. But yeah, really cool Pokemon. Marijuana here is the standard size. The non-alpha version of Leafeon. I'm just wondering what we should do here. We can probably release this. Bye-bye, Sonic. We'll see you in the movie when you come out soon. I'm really excited for the new Sonic 2 movie. Seraphin says, I finally beat Pearl. Nice. Shining Pearl, right, on the Switch. We were just talking about that earlier. Lord Loki was playing Nier Automata, and it's actually made by the same people that developed Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. First Game Freak game ever to not be first Pokemon game ever to not be developed by Game Freak. I almost said it was the first Game Freak game ever to not be developed by Pokemon, and then I just thought to myself, holy shit, what fucking Pokemon are developing games? I want to work for that game dev. They're like, oh, do you have those graphic assets? It's like, yeah, Ekans has been taking forever with it, and you just like pan to Ekans trying to figure out how to use a computer mouse and like trying to figure out how to use a keyboard, just like smacking against the keyboard. Where'd you hire this guy? Just gonna pull another Pokemon into that spot. I think this makes sense. We don't need a Yanma anymore because we have the Yanmega, right? Yeah, we have two Yanmegas. I don't think that's supposed to be there. It wasn't named either, so this is what we'll do. And then we'll add Crystal Queen. Just a little bit OCD about the organization, or what? I just want, you know, similar Pokemon to be close to each other. This is funny too, I just realized that the three, and I mentioned this earlier, the three unknowns that we found, and in order, are D, L, and C. And it was completely unintentional, but it's some sort of some sort of sign that maybe they'll add a battle mode in the DLC of this. That'd be amazing. Congrats on beating Pearl, by the way, Lois. I know it's such a tough game. It gets really tough near the end, just the original Diamond and Pearl, so I imagine that the remakes are not that different. Panta Wooper just smiling. I like that. The computer mouse is clearly in the Ekans' throat in that scene, definitely. Definitely. Wooper's getting a raise for sure. We haven't found a Wooper yet in this game, or seen a Wooper. Yeah, I think that's the team we're going to go with right now. We just picked up this Alpha Hisuian Gudra. Numelgon is the Japanese name for Gudra. So here's the actual team, proper team recap for the people that came in with the raid. We got Beetleborg, we got Laxtos, he's taking a nap. We got Punchki. We got Deep Cut. Newer addition to the team, K-Rool. I appreciate the design of Garchomp so much more in this aesthetic too. And then we have Numelgon. Wow, huge. So this is the new Steel Dragon version of Gudra. It's level 72, so we got like really lucky with catching that one at the end of the last stream. Pretty cool team though. Like just overall, it's not too shabby. We're just out here shaking trees. Don't even stick around for that. Yeah, we gotta beef these Pokemon up. That'll come with time. What? I don't know what the hell happened there, but that was amazing. Defeat them with fighting moves. See them leap out of trees. Fighting moves we can do. just disappeared? Okay. Brave Ape him. Like, our Pokemon are so big, they pretty much take up the whole space in here. Pretty rad. And just being into sound design, I love that they add these really cool reverb effects. Can't fit. Eat my hat. Let's go. Let's look around, because you never know. We found an unowned cave before. I'm gonna keep an eye out. I haven't been checking my Pokedex, but if we go to the Pokedex and press Y, we can go to the unknown dex, and there's a hint for everything. So like we can just go here and go scale the frozen falls. Okay, there we go. We'll find one at the top of that. I think I saw the frozen falls in the distance in this area. Dude, I just did that at random. We haven't taken any time to like do any of that exploration at all. Hell yeah. So Los, what starter did you pick in Shining Pearl? What was the choice that you made? Because I do plan on doing a co-op of Pokemon Platinum, and I'm curious who you chose. Got him. I think. Yes. You have to catch heavy specimens, catch more of them, defeat with grass moves, defeat in general. First time using it in battle. You don't have anything with grass moves right now, but that's okay. If we had taken our Gengar, which has Energy Ball, or Leaf Thought, or Leafeon, we'd be okay, but that's fine. You don't have to always complete the research tasks each time. What the? Give it food. Catch without being spotted. Defeat. Catch heavy specimens. Evolve. What the? We fed it the wrong stuff. It blew up. That's traumatizing. You got more. Okay, that one blew up too. Alright, you're just around for eating, eh? Oh, there's another small Ghastly. Do you see that? So this is what I was talking about before so the one we named Gleepglaw at the very beginning of the stream. Compared to our giant Gengar that we had. Like, pretty funny. Let's organize our team by level. Usually bugs me so much if I don't. Another really good moment with lighting in the game. It happens very often, actually. We already took on an Alpha Glalie before, and we already caught one. But pretty badass Pokemon to be running around with. We could take that one on the team at some point. I feel like we should probably always have Alphas on the team. And please let me know if at all you need me to bring the volume down. I haven't really had that conversation yet on the stream. But if you need more of me or less of me, or if I feel like I'm being buried in the music, please let me know, because I have a very different mix than you do in my ears. Which doesn't make sense to really do, but that's okay. Yeah, you got thick skin. Let's go. Roasted. Damn. Kaiju battle, exactly. Where's my Tyranitar? Oh yeah, Scizor and Goodra both have Iron Head. That's an interesting combination. Oh, nice. And Glalie need to be defeated with Steel-type moves, so that's absolutely perfect. I like the sun in the distance there. Really nice looking moment in the game. Yeah, sometimes it looks really like mediocre, the lighting, and sometimes it's just like perfect. Everything aligned just works. There we go. Look at that. That's crazy. Just their shadows. I tried. Try to keep you alive. Alright, if you're gonna survive that, then we're gonna at least huck a Pokeball at you. What's the max? We have to do it 10 times, okay. Oh. Hi. Son of a bitch. He knew. He knew. Isn't this how you would deal with a Electabuzz if you didn't have a Pokemon? Just throw a bunch of mud at it. Oh shit! The ricochet. Oh no! Such an intense Electabuzz encounter. There we go. Wow. That was cool. I like that we pretended we didn't have any Pokemon in that scenario. Definitely would be an interesting meta game. Would be to see people play this game like without Pokemon, but just using the items to stun Pokemon and stuff. If you could somehow like go in and edit that or like modify that in some way, that'd be really interesting. Okay, perfect. Alright, this actually can make the second one here. Let to catch without being spotted, catch them while they're sleeping. Catch only one while it's sleeping. Give it food. Let's just try this. No? It's not gonna be that easy. The ice area seems to like fade music in a little bit more frequently, and I don't know why they don't do it as often in the earlier area of this game, because the music is great in this game. It just doesn't get showcased as much, unfortunately. To Brave Ape him as well. It's not running away. They usually run away. They usually all run away. Holy shit. I think they can take an ice beam from Boomshki like that? Damn. One strong people. Brave MVP. Oh shit. Calm right down there. Cold electricity. Have you seen Electabuzz in your run, Loki, of Pokemon Conquest yet? Does Electabuzz show up in that game? Where's the gold point? It's up there. Oh, hello there. Where the hell does that lead us? That's interesting. Let's take a look at the map really quick. I want to see where we are. You haven't run into Electabuzz yet? Cool. I'm pretty sure that Electabuzz is in the game. Definitely. Interesting. This is such an interesting topography as well, this area. Like if you really take a look at this area and compared to other areas in the game, it's pretty cool. It's also very fun to traverse as well. There's our Hisuian Braviary that's gonna help us. 3-up moon. You made it all the way up here in this cold. But the question is, did you catch me? Or did I let myself get caught? One more thing. Am I even really clairvoyant? No idea. No one but me could really know, right? Anyway, the challenge continues. The next stop of our merry chase is Snow Point Temple. But the real question here is, am I really having fun playing with you, or am I bored? Let's go, Braviary. Is that the only place we gotta go? Catch up to Sabi, and it's gonna be way up there. Okay. Yep. Yes. Oh, it's not in Conquest. You thought it was too. Wait, what? Did you just Google it? You just Googled it? You got dang Googled it. How about this? Boom. This stun it 10 times, really? You just checked the list twice. Turns out Game Freak wasn't being very nice. New Melgun. Let's go. It's not really the most even way to do this, but... It's gonna leave us one left over, okay. And I think there's probably a quick way to make some Pokeballs? Yes. Let's go with Great Balls instead of Ultra. Experience Candy. With the K roll. Okay, so do that. Let's save. We already have an alpha swing up, so let's just avoid it. I actually don't use Ursaluna that much. I don't use Ursaluna enough. We had Ursaluna on the team, much more useful to use it in battle, but this is still pretty cool to be able to find items like this. What? Did I lose the scent? I might have lost the scent. Oh shit, yeah. Space-time distortion is forming. Alright, let me just put a pin down real quick. So this is like the incoming game. Incoming game. A little reboot moment. You can easily see it, which is great. Hisuian Gudra has a really cool silhouette as well. Cool profile silhouette. What the? How about that, bub? This is not an alpha Abomasnow, so I can't imagine if we had an alpha Abomasnow, it'd be huge. But we're gonna just go for it. Don't want to battle it. complete overkill. Yo, what's up? What's up, Zombie? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. The only new addition to the team so far is one that we caught at the end of the last stream, which is a Hisuian Gudra. Gudra is normally a pure dragon type and does not have a steel shell like that, like a snail shell. In this version, in this ancient land, it's got steel type, so it's steel dragon type. Welcome to the stream too. Welcome to the stream 2.0. I'm gonna stick around and hang out until the space-time distortion appears. I think that's what we gotta do. Like, imagine this thing evolved. We have an alpha swin up, but imagine this thing evolved into a Mamoswine. Like, holy shit. Holy shit. Again, let me know if I need to adjust my volume or the game volume. I'm gonna bring the game volume just back a touch, so I'm not buried in there during battles. What the? There we go. He's freaking out. He's kind of got like a Zoidberg mouth. The triple flaps. Mamoswine is pretty rad, yeah, definitely. I think out of all those like new evolutions, everything sounds pretty good. Okay, good. I'm kind of obsessed about it, obviously. But yeah, Mamoswine, I think of those like new evolutions, I think is a real improvement. I don't think that necessarily Electivire or Magmortar improve upon their previous forms, but I think that Tangrowth and Mamoswine are good improvements for sure. And again, I'm only specifically speaking design-wise. I know there's lots of people who play the meta and who battle, and who currently battle in Pokemon Showdown and stuff. And some of those Pokemon like needed evolutions to make them viable in that meta. I totally get that. It's not just all about design, but for me, design is first in that aspect. Oh, we got Hydrate as soon as we enter the space-time continuum. Hey, this water looks a little bit weird. Oh well, let's take a sip. One sec, I'll be right back. Los is saying, I don't know how I feel about the meta. I'm not hugely a big fan of it. I love Pokemon Showdown, though. I have a blast with it all the time. Random battles, Challenge Cup. In fact, if anyone ever wanted to just hang out and build teams, I'm super down with that. I was thinking about doing Pokemon Showdown streams as well. But I'm not like strictly like, okay, these are the 3 viable movesets that you can use for Dugong or some shit. Like, I don't know who uses Dugong, but you know what? Who the hell remembers Dugong? I feel like there's certain Pokemon like Dugong and Fearow and Primeape that are just like, oh yeah, those are oh yeah Pokemon. That's right, they exist. Those ones could have got evolutions. Like, imagine if Primeape got an evolution in Diamond and Pearl. Primerilla. Primerilla, that's perfect. But yeah, you know, Arbok could have got an evolution. That's funny. Los is saying, on the one hand, I fucking hate the meta, but because it's broken and dumb and really narrow. But also, you don't want anything to change because there's not really any kind of competitive turn-based thing like this. Yeah, the thing I think that the lasting power with Pokemon, in my opinion, is that they keep getting new players over time. They keep improving upon the games using the same sort of skeleton and like meat and potatoes of the original games. They're not changing it too much. Like, this is one of the first times they've really changed the Pokemon formula in a long time. Pokemon Legends. But in terms of, it's the same way that like Super Smash Bros. Melee and just Smash Bros. In general became such a popular game. I think infinitely more so when Melee came out than when Super Smash Bros. 64 came out. Because it became competitive. People created and started like practicing in the meta and stuff, and that's where it really becomes, you know, that's where it really evolved. Oh. But no, really, I think that's part of the secret as to why Pokemon's really one of the, if not biggest, game franchises. Is because both exist, right? The casual gameplay exists and keeps getting better, and the competitive gameplay exists and keeps slowly getting better. Maybe not as good as the casual gameplay is, or as quickly, but there's been clones, yeah, but nothing that's balanced with depth and accessibility like PokeMan's meta. I think Monster Rancher meta is one that comes close. My buddy Moose Bones, he just made partner actually. He's super into like Monster Rancher 2 specifically, but I think that there is a really nice balance in that game as well. I haven't like delved that much into it, and I don't follow it too precisely or too closely. But yeah, Monster Rancher for sure. Monster Rancher 2 is definitely one that has got a pretty deep meta, but I remember really enjoying Digimon World. Digimon World 2, they were PlayStation 1 games, and I can't even remember what the battling was like in those games. Like, I can't remember a thing about those games except for just me really liking them and me spending a lot of time with them. Loki says Arbok evolution called Adnakana. Ooh, I like that. The Adnakana. My Adnakana ain't got none. Right? Because none is none backwards. N-U-N. You heard Digimon Cyber Sleuth was rad. That's a more recent one, right? Is that similar to Digimon World at all? Lately, the balance has been very wonk. With this game, they're showing you that they're not really focusing on the battles. I don't really know what battling is like in Sword and Shield. Do you know what I mean? Like, this game doesn't really have a focus on battling, but I'm not sure how big a focus battling is in Sword and Shield. But I think this, and I said this before, is more of a testing ground, or was more of a testing ground, just to see, would this concept work, the idea of playing Pokemon in this fashion, catching Pokemon in this fashion. I think the fact that it feels more like Pokemon Snap than one of the main series games is pretty cool as well. Cool, Digimon Cyber Sleuth came out in 2020. I'm adding that to my list. I have a huge list of films and TV shows and all sorts of stuff that people have been recommending. And actually, it's all been over at people's different Discords and stuff. That's why I really like having the Discord channel, because people can just recommend games, TV shows, books, all sorts of cool stuff, and just discover stuff in an interesting way. Sword and Shield did a pretty good job with balancing it. Nice. Well, it says, the problem I had with Sword and Shield was the amount of content provided and failing to capitalize on anything narratively. Yeah, a lot of people have said that the story falls flat a little bit in that one. Even though they've always tried. It's tricky, right? I was watching someone play Pokemon Y. I was watching Saber play Pokemon Y, and it just didn't. I'll do a shout out here. Saber544. Yeah, I was playing Pokemon Y as well as another shout out for Surfins. Basically, they were doing a rainbow lock, and I have no idea what a rainbow lock is, but basically, in Pokemon X and Y, I felt very similarly, and I didn't play Pokemon Sword and Shield yet, but in X and Y, I felt like the story was good, but there was something about it, there was something that fell flat narratively that just didn't really work for me. It's good later at the end, like they wrap it up in a nice way, but it feels like a different one. It wasn't, it didn't fully grab me. I don't even remember the story of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Like, it did not stick with me at all. And the story in Black and White is alright. So, it's kind of like been ups and downs throughout the whole evolution of... I keep saying that, god damn it. Throughout the whole timeline. There we go. You missed it on X and Y, and you heard it's very similar to how Sword and Shield played out. However, X and Y, because it was the first one to do like the full 3D like that, I think it introduced so many cool things, and I think that one has a lot of merit and value to revisit, whereas Sword and Shield doesn't necessarily have that charm and doesn't have that added benefit of them like being a little more experimental and trying some different things out. And I think that Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire to me are really peak games, because it takes their experimentation from the first two and then they refined it enough and they added a few new really cool things. This is really dumb. My primary motivation is to beat a Pokemon game. Or your primary motivation to beat a Pokemon game is this hyper-specific dumb thing. When you beat a game, you get the little montage of the team you used to beat with it. Yeah. And you put your name in the Hall of Records. Sword and Shield didn't do that at all. Yeah, like, I see what you're saying. Like, it's that is like core basis of a Pokemon game, is like doing the gym battles, that sort of thing, and then having that like epic moment. But it was just like, oh, you won. Well, and I mean, this, like, we've only got one more noble Pokemon at the end. I wonder what they're gonna do with this game, because there's not much else, and we're already rank 9. We're about to be rank 10, so there's no gym battles, and I wish there were battles. I know that the recent update that they added to this added more alpha hordes, not hordes, what am I saying, outbreaks. They added more alpha outbreaks and stuff like that, and a few battles we could do with the training grounds, but I don't think we can do that until we beat the game, so I don't know how that works. It's such a weird feature to remove. It's cool. You didn't get that feeling of catharsis. That's right. Contrast that with just recently finishing Shiny Pearl and crying during that little montage. Yeah, and so there's something there are certain elements that are so tied to folks' nostalgia with... Ooh, double scyther. There are some elements that are tied to folks' nostalgia so closely with Pokemon games, and just with games in general, right? Like, imagine if you just remove, like, the jumping sound effect in a Mario game. Oh, wait. That's a thing. They've done that. Okay, so the key is, and I saw an item over here, is I don't want that. Oh, get out of here, Scizor. Let me just get that protector. Okay, we can evolve a... I think that's our second protector. Then we can evolve a Rhydon into a Rhyperior if we want, but we already found a wild alpha Rhyperior, so I'm not sure I want that. Just for fun, let's take a look at the difference between a normal Scizor and an alpha one. Yeah, I totally agree with you though, in terms of, like, there are certain things that make a Pokemon game a Pokemon game. And I think that this game feels more like an experiment, and I'm really, really excited for Generation 9. One, because it's potentially based off of Spain and Portugal, but even if it was just based off of Spain, that's really interesting. Being Portuguese, that's just something I'd like to see. And also, I'm really, really intrigued about them taking pages from this book, like learning from this experimentation, having this continue on as its own separate line, and, you know, show me another ancient version of a region, but then also learn from this and add this kind of experience into Generation 9. And it looks like from some of the screenshots that we've seen that that's probably what we're going to get. And I said this before, Fuecoco for sure is definitely going to be the one I pick. Either that or Sprigatito. I'm not a huge fan of Quagley, whatever it was, Quaxley. Quang. Not a huge fan of the design. Just saying. But, you know, I wasn't a huge fan of Froakie, but then I got used to the design. But never really liked the design for Greninja, or what's the middle one? Don't even know what the middle one's called. Oh, we got nice items though. This is the main reason why you want to come here, is for items and rare Pokemon that randomly show up. So, I mean, we already have Alpha Walrein, and we can find Celios and Spheals in a lot of places. So this is nothing too crazy going on right now. Try and use Agile Style and sneak in a second move if we can. These space-time distortions are timed, right? So we have to keep in mind with that. Okay, we were asking before, which Pokemon do you want to see an evolution of? If you could pick another one, like how Tangrowth and Electabuzz and Magmar all got evolutions in Generation 4. How about which Pokemon do you not want to see an evolution of? And I think Rapidash is at the top of that list for me. I think it wouldn't be cool if they made an evolution for Rapidash. I think the alternate forms of Rapidash are cool, but that's it. Dang. Let's just go for it and see what happens. Damn. Well. Let's try again. And the first Rapidash that we caught was, we named Beyonce. We found it swimming in a pool of water, which is super badass. We have another Rapidash that was actually, sorry, Beyonce was a Ponyta that we evolved into Rapidash, and then we have another wild Rapidash, and then we just caught that one, so that's the third one. A Rapidash evolution would probably be Celestia from My Little Pony. Yeah, I just feel like then it becomes like pandering the designs. Oop, what the heck? My boy. Sponge Buzz, me boy. Only acceptable evolution for Rapidash would be a Pegasus, but I feel like, isn't there already, like, what do we have for forms, right? Isn't there like a Galarian Rapidash? Yeah, Galarian Rapidash is already like a unicorn, right? So I could see that one getting an evolution, maybe only in Galar, or only that form can evolve wings and become Pegasus. That could be pretty interesting. But then Rapidash themselves, they stay the same, because Galarian Rapidash was introduced in Sword and Shield, and is Psychic and Fairy type. I think it's an interesting combination. I'm not against it. Fan art of Wooper that makes it look more tropical, kind of like a coral reef. Ooh, that could be cool. I could see how the little cheek antlers would work out that way. Hello there, Raichu. Haven't seen a wild Raichu yet. We do have a Raichu already, or a Raichu. Psychic Fairy Horse. They really did go for My Little Pony. Yeah, totally. Hey, they're probably like, let's make a couple of these lean towards this demographic. Let's make a couple of these designs lean towards this demographic. There's got to be a lot of that going on too, in some fashion. Demographic conversations. Oh. Demographic conversations. You think that could affect the Snorlax? Bye-bye. See ya. Excuse me. If you could add one new type, here's a new question of the day. You can drop it in the YouTube comments or in the chat. If you could add one new type to Pokemon, what would it be? Like a meteorite drops and then Pokemon they come from that meteorite. Like from another planet, so that's why there's a new type. That's like how they discover it. That would be like the background, but it can be any type you want. How about gecko type? And then you just retroactively turn Trico's line into gecko type. And that's pretty much it. Oh, funny. Edorama says cosmic type. And Loki says, I was also thinking aliens and cosmic type. Yeah, that could work, like space type. That's what comes to mind for me. Space type, but I like cosmic type. It has a better ring to it. I feel like dragons would be able to resist cosmic type. Because I'd like to imagine that there's a planet of dragons out there in the universe. Can you imagine that film? Planet of Dragons. Starring McConaughey. And Hathaway in the award-winning film. But up next, at 8 p.m. Pacific, 2 Pikachus and a Snorlax. Starring Robin Williams as all 3 characters. You do not have a lot of health or a lot of options. Yeah, I feel like Cosmic Type would definitely be the best choice. I don't think you'd want to add, like, is there another element that you could add as a type? He just dips his head into the space-time rift. Plasma type. Yeah, that could be interesting though, because like, is Spiritomb Dark and Ghost type, or is it just Ghost type? It's Ghost and Dark, okay. You could retroactively turn it into Ghost and Plasma type. That would be one of them that you could retroactively change if you wanted to. If you wanted to. That's interesting. That would be an interesting suggestion. If Plasma type existed. Or you could even do that same thing with Cosmic type as well. You could add Cosmic type to Lunatone and Soul Rock instead of Psychic. Take away Psychic type, but it could still learn Psychic moves. Those would be 3 great additions to add to that mix. And I think, is Clefairy just pure Fairy type? Clefairy is pure Fairy type. Okay, so it used to be normal, and then now it's pure Fairy type. And Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff used to be normal, but they're now normal and Fairy type. They're not pure Fairy type. So imagine if you retroactively, you had Cosmic type, and Cosmic type became Clefairy's secondary type for that whole line. So Fairy, Cosmic. You've got Cosmic Rock for Soul Rock and Lunatone. Alright, that's a pretty good mix. Deoxys could be Cosmic type, definitely. Just change it to pure Cosmic instead of Psychic, or it could be Cosmic Psychic, which would be a nice mix. Yeah, I like that idea. I like the idea of like a few of them becoming related to Cosmic type. Just a few of the classics. The Dragon Legendary from Sword and Shield would be a Cosmic type. Nice. See, and that's like it. That's in terms of like, if you had 6 or 7 Pokemon retroactively changed over. It would be so funny though for Clefairy. It'd be a funny storyline. It'd be like my journey from normal to Fairy type to Fairy Cosmic type. Itoroma says you could add a fungal type, but it would need a lot of retroactive changes. Yeah, that makes sense. There's a lot of fungus Pokemon. If a fungal type existed, I totally would argue to add that to Garbodor or Grimer and Muck. Maybe just Muck. The distortion faded. Not for this guy. Not for this boy right here. Radioactive type could be kind of cool. That could be interesting. Cool suggestions for sure. I think Cosmic type would be cool. In Sun and Moon, or I think it's in Sun and Moon, I'm pretty sure they have very space themed legendaries. Yeah, we'll kill it. I was gonna try and catch it, but we already have one. We already got one of you. Old Pokémon of the mountain. Oh, yep, we already have one of you too. Oh, that was the pin for the space-time distortion. I gotcha. We know where we gotta go, but we're gonna take this route. Follow the pins. Stay in the ball. Yep. Thank you. Stay in the ball. Yes. It'd be interesting, or it might be interesting to see a regional Paris that isn't infected with the spores. Oh yeah, maybe it's ground type. It's bug ground. Okay. What I wanted to do was just go to the camp. Campsite. Just so we can heal. Oh, we didn't have a protector yet. That was the first one. Nice. Okay. That's it? Damn. Just 6. We're healed. Is everyone level in order? Or everyone's level is in order? Yep. Okay, cool. We're gonna save. Item. Funny place to dig. There we go. 10 iron chunks. I'll take them. Maybe there's already a Pokemon that's meant to be an uninfected Paris, like the original theory of Cubone being an orphan Charmander. Oh, interesting. I always saw Cubone as a. That's interesting. I never would have. I never heard of that theory. That's so funny. I always saw Cubone differently. I always saw Cubone as, so there's Kangaskhan, and then you've got the Kangaskid or whatever, which should be its own Pokemon, Kangaskid. But Kangaskhan, maybe because they're so close to their moms, they stay so close to their moms after birth, that they, or after they hatch, that they never independently have become their own Pokemon. They are a Pokemon, but they're not like a classified Pokemon, because they never like leave the Kangaskhan until they become a Kangaskhan themselves. And then so it's just like a bunch of Kangaskhan's raising Kangaskhan's. But I've always heard that it was a Kangaskhan, like a Cubone was a Kangaskhan, and that like a Cubone's mom, and it wasn't a Marowak, but a Cubone's mom was actually a Kangaskhan. A Kangaskhan kid's Kangaskhan mom died, and because it was so attached to the Kangaskhan, it started to wear its skull, the Kangaskhan skull, which is like super sad. But because it was wearing the skull and using one of the bones of its mom as a weapon, over time, all these Kangaskhan kids wearing the skull evolved into their own Pokemon, which is Marowak, and you can see that the skull is like more fused type of thing. So that's kind of interesting. And I know that in the original Pokemon Gen 2 beta, like the Gold and Silver beta, which I haven't played, but I'll probably play on stream at some point, that there's a different... Basically, like, there's a Pokemon that initially they had planned to be, like, the shell on Slowking and Slowboro's tail. That was supposed to be a separate Pokemon. So there's all sorts of interesting, like, visual things that they could do. We've got a sleeping Apen. That one's not sleeping, but this one is. Who's it gonna be? Wormadam. Nice. Same theory, different base Pokemon. So, Idarama, who do you think would be the uninfected Paris? The Pokemon that's already supposed to be the uninfected Paris? I could see it being a Dwebble, which evolves into a Crustle, introduced in Pokemon Black and White. I could totally see a Dwebble being taken over by a parasite, and then like the parasite grows extra eyes, and that's where the little googly eyes come from. It's actually the parasite. But the base Pokemon it's a Dwebble, and it loses its rock type. Or even Venonat. That'd be interesting. Oh. That's what I want. What the heck? Oh, I guess it is this way. Weird. What? You got it. Give me those merit points. Alright, we're gonna go from here and quickly take a look at the map. Get rid of the pin and head up here. There's a new request up there as well, a little mini mission. We'll eventually go and do all the little side quests, because I feel like we have only been doing like a few if we just happen to be running into it, and it's close by. But if you go to the menu, you can easily go and take a look at some of the side quests. It'll guide you through the side quest stuff too. So what do we actually need? We need to catch more, catch light specimens, defeat more. We've fed a bunch of them. Evolve. Okay. Venomoth has similar eyes to Paris though. So then again, Venomoth was originally supposedly the planned evolution of Caterpie, and Butterfree was the design for Venonat's evolution. Yeah, I've seen that theory where they like just it seems like they swapped them, right? It seems like even Metapod has similar eyes to Venomoth. Oh shoot, boy, you want to go down, don't you? Okay. Oh, and there's an alpha Abomasnow. I was talking about that earlier on stream. It'd be pretty crazy to run into that. Well, here you go. This would be so cool to have on the team. Okay, this hopefully won't kill it. We're the same level. Good. If you want to come up with the name for the alpha Abomasnow, who's definitely going to join the team. That's 420 moonstones. Drop it in. Ooh. Experience Candy medium, Grit Dust. There we go. That's perfect, so that's definitely going to join the team. Look at this thing, he's looking at me. New Melgon's like, am I going to be off the team? No, I think we'll keep this thing. We'll just have to figure out what other Pokemon we're going to box. Definitely not Snorlax. Maybe Punchki? Just temporarily. It's gonna be another Wormadam, I think. Yep. Yep. This is an amazing screenshot right here. An Alpha Hisuian Sneasel. Wow. Yes. There we go. Boom. Oh, it was guarding the satchel I was trying to look for. Son of a bitch. Hold on to this. This is poison fighting type, so it's gonna go down easy. More merit points. Okay, we grabbed that. We didn't necessarily need to stop off and do that. But I think what we're going to do is I might call the stream because it's getting a little bit late, at least for me, and because I work tomorrow. But I want to say thanks to everyone for hanging out. Thank you so much to Rocktree1995 for the raid, for bringing your community over here. And to everyone that is watching on YouTube. This is part 18. I'll see you in part 19. Feel free to check out any of the other streams that I've done. I do retro games. I play randomizers of retro games. We have a series called the Retro Roulette, which we'll be spinning right back to, pun intended, shortly once I get over the whole Switch addiction. But go check out my Discord. It's in the chat. If you're not a member already, I'll stream tomorrow in the evening as well. Normally I stream it's from 6 p.m. Pacific onward, and in the daytime, Wednesday and Thursday is when I stream. You can also check out my Twitter as well, which will let you know when and what I'm streaming next. We're gonna raid who today? Let's raid you know what? I like doing this. Let's raid somebody who's playing Pokemon Legends right now. Somebody I don't know. Somebody I've never seen before on stream. But who looks like a cool fit. I'm just gonna do a quick look around here. Let's see who is online. Oh wow, there's so many people playing this right now. It's so funny. Stick around though, because we can give them a bigger raid. Okay, how about Orange Bullius? That's a great name. We're gonna raid Orange Bullius. They're playing Pokemon Legends Arceus right now, so stick around. And I want to say thanks again to everyone that's been hanging out. Thank you again to Rocktree1995. Stick around for some Orange Bullius action, and I will see you in their chat. Go give them a follow. Click follow on my channel if you aren't already, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.